Okay, I am curious. You're a stand-up comedian. Your boyfriend's a stand-up comedian. Do you
Yes.
have to run your jokes by each other if you're making
Weird.
jokes that are centered around, your romantic partner?
I mean, every relationship is different. I know a bunch of people who are dating stand-ups, and it can absolutely go so toxic and it can be bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
But Matt is great, and we generally know each other's jokes pretty well and what we're working on. So if there's something that would ever bother me, I would just be like, don't do that. And he's going to work around it. He's going to figure out a way. That also makes it to where all the jokes he's doing, I'm like, all right, you can do them. I do have a couple of ones of them where I'm like, not in front of my parents. And once we had this big blowout fight because he was like, you are limiting my artistic expression. He was about to perform in front of my parents. And I was like, no, I don't care. Screw your artistic expression. I genuinely don't care at all about that. Look at my face. Does it look like it cares? It does not care. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and flip the switch, and you're not doing those jokes, or I'm going to throw a fit. You can choose. You can choose between those two options. But I promise you, throw a fit's right there. It's right there. He chose option A, which was change the jokes. Or he has hours of material. I was like, we don't need to do it on this one show, man. This is a random show, but my parents are here. And he's probably going to beat you up after if you do that joke. So I don't know about that. That's also included in option B.
There's
So
a ripple effect here.
yeah, I highly recommend. I'm looking into the future and it's just not going to work. So there's those kinds of situations, but by and large, he doesn't write like I really like his comedy. He's he's doing really well, really well. He's opening like for Bert Kreischer. He has been on late night television so many times at this point. He's very good. Go check him out, Matthew Broussard, Monday Ponday on Instagram. And yeah, so by and large, like his jokes, I'm always like, oh, these are great. It hasn't been a huge issue.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool to hear.
Yeah, minus that
Um,
right, which is funny and rich.
is it? I'm curious what it's like to just constantly be seeking inspiration or just living, and then you're like, oh, that could be a joke. Oh, that could be a joke. Is that how it feels, or do you, when you sit down and write, you're kind of much more like purposeful about, okay, now I'm going to compose jokes.
So I think the biggest thing is sitting down and being like, okay, joke time. What is funny? Some people it probably works for. For me, there is no way to make my thinking like more linear and uncreative than if I try to do that. I'm just like, for breakfast, I have like I have no idea. So
Mhm.
what I like to do is when I'm just living my life, and if I something pops into my head or I feel an emotion towards something, like just jot in the notes app, just jot it down. So then when you do go sit down to write, you have things to go off of where you can be like, oh yeah. And then it's more like, how do I how can I structure this out to where it would potentially be funny? Um, this is an area that I have so much learning still to do. So now at this point, I've been doing comedy for about 2 years or so, plus or minus months because of pandemic and gaps and who knows, whatever. Um, so I'm still considered like very young in the whole thing, very young in the whole thing. Then I have compared to Matthew on the flip side, who is like over 10 years in at this point, and he's got a whole structure and like much faster at the whole thing of being able to develop jokes and understand how to structure them, things like that. So I've been able to see the way that he does it, and that's helped kind of mold me in that way. And I've also appreciated the fact that my brain just needs to continue to learn and to develop over time, and I've gotten a lot better at it. I've gotten a lot faster at it. So it's one of those things that you have to just do it frequently. The other thing with stand up that I think is cool is performing. Is it's like going to practice, and it's going to practice, but you have to like fight to be able to get pool time, like really fight. It's extremely competitive in New York, extremely competitive. So the more I can get myself to go up, the just better I'm automatically going to get. Because as you're doing the jokes, you can understand like, hey, even when I was writing that, even though I thought it was funny, it's like just really not funny. It's not funny. No one likes it. So stop doing it or change it. And then you can go back to the drawing board with that information and know what to do or
Mhm.
not know what to do and figure it out.